your favorite scary movie? Alright, what is up everybody? It's Isaiah to him, of course. You guys have not seen me in a while, ever since I made that modification costume video over my 25th anniversary Ghostface costume. I had this mask, I have plenty more, but that's for a different video. Today I'm going to be ranking all 14 of these guys. All 14 of them, in my opinion. I don't count the Ghostface killers that people say are Carl, Jason, or Greg, so they will be voided from my ranking. This is all my personal opinion. This is what I think, and I'm going to be basing it on two categories: the review and their performance. Also, I will be embodying this as a bonus category, and it's also what they did while they were in the costume. So all 14 ghost phases are being ranked today just by me. I'll be doing more ranking videos like this in the future, so please look out for those, and just leave any comments that you think would be great. Any future ideas or any topics that I should rank when it comes to horror movies, because that's what my channel is about to be about. Starting off at number 14, in my opinion, I have Marco from Scream 7. Now, the thing about Marco is you never really got to see this character really anywhere. He was virtually non-existent until after Carl was killed in the middle of the movie, and then Sydney and I believe Gail go to the psych ward, and Marco was there showing them to the rooms of previous mental patients, and he starts talking about John Doe, and I was a little off put by that. I'm like, he's definitely one of the Ghostface killers. He's definitely involved with it because of how much information he's disclosing. I don't think he did a great job with really much of anything else. I can never tell when he's Ghostface, and then when he's revealed, I just kind of see, like, I was surprised, but not in a good way. I was like, it's this guy. Why is it him? Why is Marco a Ghostface in this movie? And then he doesn't really have a motive to me. What I think he really has is just, I mean, I was an AI assistant. I used to work at Google. Okay, you have no relations to Sydney and or Tatum, none of them too. So I think you really killed Tatum's friends just because you got into AI. I don't think that's really good, and I give Marco a 3 out of 10, and he's in my bottom tier of Ghostface killers. At number 13, I have Detective Wayne Bailey from Scream 6. Now, this could be either controversial or I could be agreed with here, but in my opinion, I do not like Detective Bailey in this movie. Dermot Mulroney puts on the most cartoonish, most Scooby-Doo performance out of any of the Ghostface killers, and that says a lot because there are some pretty iffy ones down here at the bottom 5 in this list. But here at the 13th spot, I do have Wayne Bailey. The thing that really sets him apart from being an actually good Ghostface is just the performance. I think he is the one that did do the bodega attack. He did kill Jason and Greg at the intro, and I also think that he killed the therapist, or that could go to a Ghostface that comes later in the list. But when it comes to Wayne himself, I wasn't too invested in him as a character. He was just a suspicious cop that no one really cared about. I kind of could tell it was him due to an expository link from one of the other Ghostfaces that will be going on here. And why he's at 13th is mainly because of his very rough performance. I don't think he did very well. He's like laughing maniacally. He's acting all cartoonish. I don't think that's what a real killer should do. And then he runs at Sam with a loaded weapon. That really was like, he's not a good Ghostface. I do like his motive, like killing for revenge, but that's a pretty basic motive in the Scream franchise, and it's already been done before, much better by a Ghostface that you will see later. At number 12, I have Quinn Bailey from Scream 6, and I love the performance that Leona Liberato puts on here when she's revealed at the end in the shrine. She does a really good psychotic performance. She's like a watered down Amber, and what makes me put Quinn at 12 is just because she wasn't really in the movie a lot. She died in the closet or in the bathroom where she was. So I thought that was a little weird. We never got to see her death, and it was off screen. But I really thought she died because Scream does these off screen deaths pretty decently. I mean, for the most part. I'll get to that. Way way higher on the list. I'll get to that. To an off screen death that was done well. But with Quinn, I was like, something is just telling me she's just not dead. And she exposited her link to Richie to Sam in the beginning of the movie, which made me think she's involved with something. Why would she say her brother died in a car accident? And that's the only possible motive that I thought I could come up with. I put all the pieces together, and I knew that Quinn was one of the ghost faces. And then even worse is when she said her dad was a cop. So Quinn was quite obvious to me. She didn't really shock me. I don't think she was well written. She does suffer from terrible writing, but once that mask comes off and the performance is full blown, I think Quinn does a fantastic job as two of the cursed siblings in this Ghostface trio. At number 11, I have Jessica from Scream 7. Now, I don't think this needs to go on for too long. I didn't really have much planned out when talking about Jessica. I think that her motive was complete BS. She just started rambling to Sydney about how she just wasn't in New York. I would never accept that as a good Scream motive. Oh no, Sydney wasn't around for Scream 6. Yeah, she wasn't because she wanted to protect her children and be safe. And one of her children ended up being Tatum, so that was a good decision. But I don't like Jessica's motive all that much. She's not really in the movie, and then her line delivery in the cafe really exposits that she's one of the killers. And I was not surprised by her reveal. And when Marco was like, "Isn't that right, Stu?" I knew something was a little off because Stu's not alive. I didn't see that coming at all. I saw every last moment of the reveal coming. I knew it was Marco and Jessica, and I knew that was completely it because all Tatum's friends had been dead, and who else could it have been? Like, she even killed Lucas, who was a personal favorite character of mine in that movie. He was basically like if Ethan and Kirby were mixed. I'll talk about Ethan a little bit later, but this is where Jessica stands for me. I don't like her motive. Her performance is pretty good, but everything else just gets watered down after that, and I don't really like really anything else she has to offer. She would never stand up as one of those legendary Ghostface killers, but she's definitely not at the tier of those bottom two in Wayne and Marco. So that's where Jessica stands. At number 10, I have a slightly hot take, and I'm going to put Mrs. Loomis from Scream 2 here. With Mrs. Loomis, the thing about Mrs. Loomis that really kind of bothered me is her lack of screen time and how she always appeared in the most least convenient moments in every part of the movie. She was always there at every single crime scene, and she would never really talk about like anything while she was in those scenes. And then I really knew she was one of the ghost faces when she was like, "Oh, maybe the killer's from Woodsboro." Yeah, it's you. But the thing that surprises me about Mrs. Loomis and what sets her apart from being in that bottom tier for me is just the reveal of her being Billy's mother was extremely impactful to me. And I was like, I knew it was Debbie Saul was going to be one of the killers, but when she came in, when she walked into that theater room holding Gail at gunpoint and Sydney goes, "Mrs. Loomis?" Then I was like, oh, okay. She's Billy's mom? And then we get an iconic line from a ghost face that'll be much higher from the list. I won't get to him. But Mrs. Loomis does a lot of good things, but a lot of mixed things as well. She has more cons than pros to me, which puts her at this almost fourth of the list. She's not a bottom tier Ghostface. She is a mid tier Ghostface to me. And it's only because of the reveal of Mrs. Loomis and her being Billy's mother. I love her revenge motive. It's the only one that did well, in my opinion. But here we are, and this is where we start getting into the slightly decent ghost faces. At number 9, this is probably the hottest take of the entire video, but I have Jill Roberts from Scream 4. Now everyone's going to be putting their pitchforks up. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Calm down. Calm down just real quickly. I think that Jill is completely overrated. The reason why she's overrated to me is because she let her accomplice do all the work, and she kind of just kept her hands clean. She was kind of this Sydney 2.0 kind of character, and she just wasn't very interesting to me throughout the entirety of the movie. The one thing that sets her apart and makes her a slightly better Ghostface than those to me is that her reveal was very shocking. I never saw her coming at all. I know everyone says that, but I never guessed either of the Scream 4 killers. But she was a little more easy to guess than the other killer. And I don't really like Jill's performance. She's so whiny to me. And she's just like, oh, Sydney, Sydney, Sydney. I'm so jealous that you're famous for surviving murder. So I'm going to become a murderer that wants to come after you. Like, yeah, okay. I never really liked Jill at all. And as the years have went on, she's just gotten worse for me. At one point, I had her at number 5. And she's just switched down for me significantly. I really don't like what she does. I don't like anything about her. At number 8, I have Amber Freeman. Now, about Amber, I really liked Amber. This is really where I think the Ghostfaces are good and better after. Amber's performance, Mikey Madison does a fantastic job. I love everything that she brings after the reveal. But before that, she's kind of just the friend, the best friend of Tara that's kind of around and a little inconvenient, just like her partner, who we'll get to in a little bit. But Amber is a very crazy Ghostface killer. She seemed to kind of not agree with Richie's plan. Her motive is kind of nothing to me. She isn't really involved with the stab movies, and if we ever got to know that she was obsessed with the stab movies, it would raise her a little bit. But Amber killed Dewey, which makes me angry, but also makes me want to elevate her because she's the only Ghostface to ever murder a legacy character, which makes you really good immediately. And she's the only Ghostface actor or actress to ever win an Oscar. So congrats on Mikey Madison for winning that. But in terms of being a Ghostface killer, I think she's just good. She's not great. At number 7, I have Ethan Landry from Scream 6. Now, this is probably my hottest take of the video outside from Jill being at number 9. What I love about Ethan is that his motive seems kind of separated from the family trio or from Detective Bailey and Quinn. I think that Ethan's motive is really to try and impress his father, since he was always looked at as the secondary son to Richie, who had died in the previous movie. I also really like Jack Champion's performance. I know a lot of people don't like Ethan or his performance. I thought he was an interesting character before his reveal. I didn't see him coming at all. I never thought there was going to be 3 ghost faces. I thought it was just Quinn and Detective Bailey, but when Ethan took off that mask, I was a little surprised and I was intrigued. What could his motive be? And then, sure, it's the family revenge motive, but once you take a deeper look into things and realize that Ethan is annoyed that Detective Bailey never gave him the attention he deserved, I don't think that, that doesn't make Ethan a bad Ghostface. It makes him really good to me. And also, it makes him just innately human, which most Ghostfaces don't present human qualities, but Ethan is one of the rare few who does. And that separates him to me. I really like Ethan, and he had a very insane death as well, if you've watched Scream 6. At number 6, I have his brother, Richie, from Scream 5. And what makes Richie so good to me is just the duality and duplicity of Jack Quaid, switching from being the careful boyfriend who is non-existently aware of the stab movies. He doesn't know what they are. He doesn't know how they got popular. He doesn't know what Woodsboro is even, which I thought was a little weird. And then he transitions into the cold-blooded killer that Richie is once he's revealed. I also think that his reveal is fantastic. I love his reveal where he just stabs people in the stomach. Or, no, he stabs Sam in the stomach, and then he's just like, I know, it's a bummer, it's me. And I liked that because I didn't want it to be him. But at the same time, he was probably the most obvious Ghostface in the franchise, which holds him back from being potentially number 2, even. He could be as high as number 2 if he wasn't so obvious, but because of that, he's down here. And I do like the toxic fandom motive. I do like what he goes over. I like what he tries to say about toxic fans on Reddit and how they've made movies a little too real. And that's what he's setting out to do in order to make source material for the next Stab movie. And I really like Reggie for that. He's very influential as a Ghostface to me. He really moved me with that. Number 5. This is where I think the top tiers begin. And I have Charlie Walker. Now, Charlie was, in my opinion, the most brutal Ghostface killer we've ever seen in any form of media. Whereas even, I wouldn't say the Scream TV series, but that's for a different ranking. But Charlie was insanely brutal. A great performance by Rory Culkin, and his reveal to Kirby while he's tied up outside and taped to the chair, and Kirby tries to rescue him. He's just like checking up on him, making sure he's okay. And he says, Kirby, this is making a move. He takes this bad boy, and he takes this and just shoves it into Kirby's stomach. It is outrageous. And it's probably one of my favorite reveals in the franchise. I think he got 8 kills, which is the second highest kill count from a Ghostface that I'm going to talk about literally next here. But Charlie is just intriguing to me. I loved his character before the reveal. I love how he was a little sarcastic. He seemed a little angry. He seemed like a red herring, but I never guessed him. And once his reveal happened, it was amazing to me. So Charlie earns his spot at number 5 here, in my personal opinion, and is also one of the reasons I treasure Scream 4. He did a great job at being a Ghostface killer. Hey, number 4. This is a very divisive Ghostface in my opinion, but he's near the top for me. And that is Roman Bredger from Scream 3. Roman has always grown on me. At one point he was low as number 10, and I rewatched these movies, all 7 of them quite recently, and I realized that Roman was much better than I previously put him in a ranking. He is definitely not number 10 material. He's not Mrs. Loomis level of a Ghostface killer. He did everything on his own, and he got 9 kills. I love the mannerisms of Ghostface in Scream 3, and to know that it was just him makes him a little more intriguing and impactful. I also like his reveal. I don't like how Sydney reacts to his reveal because she doesn't know him, but I do like that Ghostface was Roman in this movie. And also, I do like the whole family revenge, kind of family revenge for Maureen Prescott dumping him off as a young child and making Sydney basically have everything he could have got. But that's the only thing I don't understand about him. He was a famous director. I mean, you've kind of got some, good things going for you. But aside from that, Roman does a fantastic job in his performance. I think that the acting by Scott Foley was surprisingly decent to me. And I just like everything else about him. He was the only one that went solo, and that earns him a number 4 in my list. Number 3, I have Mickey from Scream 2. And Timothy Olyphant is just fantastic in the role of Mickey. And he was the Tarantino film student, as Randy labels him. But in my opinion, Mickey did all the work that Mrs. Loomis couldn't do, or that she hired him to do. The only kill that Mrs. Loomis got was Randy, in order to clarify. But Mickey did everything else in this movie. He killed the cops, he killed Cece, he nearly killed Sydney on multiple occasions, almost killed Derek. He did kill Derek in his reveal, but he almost got close to him in the house where Cece was killed. But yeah, I think that Mickey's reveal was amazing. He had a little gash on his forehead. He pulls off that crazy act. A lot of people call him Stu Jr. or a watered down version of Stu Macher, which I completely believe to be untrue. Mickey brings his own spice to the Ghostface reveal and the formula. He gives us the first unmasking of the series, and he gives even the little dance that he does in the cafeteria when Derek is singing his song to Sydney before giving her the pledge letters. And Mickey is just amazing. I loved his character. Even if we didn't get to see him that much and he disappeared for half of the movie, he was a little obvious to spot. But it all paid off in the end. He also had one of the best one last scare moments in the entire franchise. It's probably my favorite one. And he's like turning around and he's getting just lit up by Sydney and Gale. And his motive is what really makes him so unique. He wants to get famous for becoming a murderer, and he wants to blame it on the movies. It's not something that anyone has ever come up with. Even Mrs. Loomis acknowledges it later when he's shot for the first time. She's like, Mickey's motive is a little 90s. Mine is just classic revenge. I love that line from Mrs. Loomis. But Mickey's was so unique It separates him from the rest, and he's the only successful copycat killer of the Ghostface killers, in my opinion, which earns him a solidified number 3 in my list. Number 2, I've got Billy Loomis from the original. Where do I even start with this character? He's probably the most well-written Ghostface killer out of all of them. He was very off to me once the movie ended up, like, once the movie got on the roll and he drops the phone in Sydney's bedroom. I kind of knew it was him, but he got arrested. He was in jail, and then the kills continued, which I didn't expect at all. Billy was just awesome. He had a great scene with Randy and Stu in the books or in the movie store in the Blockbuster. Billy's reveal is probably the best in the franchise. I think it's my favorite one, but if it's not, it's my second favorite. And then his performance, Skeet Ulrich, you are a great psycho killer. I didn't know you could do that. You did great. But Billy is, for no apparent reason, him and Stu Macher are the most iconic ghost faces. It was really just a toss up between number 2 and number 1 where Billy was going to be. You knew he was going to be this high. So Billy Loomis is my personal number 2 Ghostface killer. If you've been paying attention to the list, process of elimination leaves only one singular Ghostface killer who donned the mask the best in my opinion, and made Ghostface so iconic and just solidified what a reveal performance should be like, and that is none other than the GOAT, Stu Macher, played by Matthew Lillard. He's my number 1 Ghostface because a simple reason. He's funny, and he's amazingly funny, but he's also a psychopath, which makes him so dangerous. And the thing that I love about Stu Macher that not many people acknowledge is that he doesn't change too much from being just Stu and then to being the killer. I like that about him, and his reveal is amazing. He has the voice changer. He goes, "Surprise, Sydney," and it's just like, wow. I love Stu Macher. He was funny throughout the movie. He had funny lines after the reveal. He was like, "You hit me with the phone," when he's bleeding and he's getting stabbed by Billy. I think that Stu's performance is by far the easiest number 1 pick in the franchise. And he's what a Ghostface formula should be moving forward. That wraps it up for my first ranking video on this channel. I ranked all 14 of the Ghostfaces. I don't think it was a surprise that Stu was going to be my number 1, but you guys are free to leave your opinions in the comments. And if there are any other ranking videos or franchises that I should do next, I'm thinking of ranking the Scream movies as a total, and that will be another video for another day, and also my mask collection. So please stay tuned for those. I loved making this. I thought it was really fun and unique to see how much my list would change from what it was in the past, and just revisiting it after Scream 7 came out. I just thought it was a really good idea to make this channel a little more popular by putting on a ranking that not many people do. And I think it was an interesting list, and I would love to do another ranking like this. So I will see you again in the next video, whatever that ends up being. Share your opinion on what your ranking is down in the comments below, and I am very excited to hear what you guys have to say. I know exactly what is in store for me, so please stay tuned, turn on all those notifications, and just subscribe to the channel. It's all going to be chill. So that's Isaiah to him, and that is my Ghostface ranking.